Hello.
Hey.
Catrina, thank you for calling in. How you doing today?
I'm wonderful, and you too?
I'm good. This is our guest, Auntie, the world famous Auntie Catrina. Auntie, how are you? Good. I'm glad you called in.
Yeah, so we got you on because you're what we consider you a vet in the local comedy scene, the Tacoma comedy scene, and Joy and myself being kind of new at this. You're one of the folks that kind of reached out to us. You're always welcome. You're always promoting, helping other people and things like that, and we really appreciate it. So we thought it would only be right if you came on the podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you always from the jump, showed us some love, and I guess we can't say that about everybody else we've met in the Tacoma comedy scene. Not that it's anything disparaging against them, but it was a nice change of pace to have such a warm welcome. So we thank you for that.
How did you get started in comedy?
Well, I always wanted to do it, and I didn't know where to start. I didn't know anything about open mics or any comedy clubs. And my cousins, Matoka and Shalani, took me to the comedy show at the Tacoma Comedy Club where I cut my teeth at. And we saw a show, and then 2 weeks later, they said, sign up for an open mic. And when I got to the open mic, I hadn't signed up, and so I put my name in the bucket for them to draw it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was waiting for my cousins to pull up. And they drew my name and said, you're number 4. And
How long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it 5 years, but I also wanted to say that Nate Jackson is the one that told me if you're going to do it, you get on stage, know your stuff, and go for it. And then he referred me to Ralph Porter. So,
what upcoming shows do you have coming up, or mics coming up?
Well, after my first year coming out, I began an open mic at Tacoma Caballeros in Tacoma's Hilltop, and I learned how to do clean comedy. When you go to places and they ask, can you do clean comedy? Are you edgy? Or they have certain requirements, you learn very quickly what gets you promoted and what helps out your comedy skills. And so it took me 2 months to turn it around, rewrite some of my materials, edit, and take out certain words, put in some, add more.
Okay.
So is that the Caballeros Club? Is that supposed to be clean comedy? Because I've been there a couple times and I've seen lots of stuff that's not.
I've been there and I wasn't clean. I'm thinking right now, like, whoops.
Yeah.
It's not really a big issue, but they want the professionalism of it, and that's what you all have proven and performed there.
Okay.
Appreciate that, yeah.
The comics themselves were pretty diverse, and I think from what I could tell, the audience very much appreciated the diversity there. Yeah.
And they absolutely do, and that's what I promote. Comedy is comedy. It has no color. It has no lines, and each comic brings something different. And so that's what I appreciate about being in comedy, because I've learned so much, and I love laughter. And so it's not about, to me, it's not about race. Some people try to make it about race, but if you're practicing your craft, you don't have time to nitpick little things. You have to bring the jokes. We can tell who's working, who's writing, and who's serious about it, other than just getting up there clowning.
Right. And that's what you told me. That's what you said. Keep writing and finish your joke. Finish your jokes and things. So what's the basis of the inspiration of your comedy?
Family and friends and current news, because we are all the same. We all have the same issues. We may not have it at the same time, but it all still comes down to it. I like to talk about being an auntie because that's a very important role in the family. They call us for everything. To babysit, carpool, cook, counsel, cuss, fight. I think I just added that part in there.
Right.
And
Yeah,
also to be a friend and shoulder to lean on.
I have pretty strong relationships with my aunties. I think that's cool that you go by Auntie Catrina, because it says it all. It just says, from the beginning, you got to be warm and friendly, right? I mean, otherwise, the name doesn't represent who what an auntie is. So, do you ever feel like pressure to have to be nice because if someone calls you auntie, and you tell them to shut up or whatever?
Oh, no,
I guess that's what aunties
anywhere,
do too, right?
Anywhere. And I mean, literally, I can go in the store, I can slide off into a restaurant, and I always hear, is that Auntie Catrina? Or, hey, Auntie. And I turn around slow as if, are you talking to me? And I know good and well they are talking to me.
Whether it's politics or race or whatever, how do you approach that?
Well, I stay away from politics because that can divide the room and also alienate a comic. Some comics are good at it. They just speak their minds. And I prefer to keep mine personal. And I speak on our president. First and foremost, I know that he's a businessman. He's savvy. Second, he's always wanted to be president, and he got what he wants. As far as me and my president, what we have in common is hair, wigs. So when he go over to the foreign countries, I need him to be on his best behavior because I need my hair. Just like he need his.
All right, he should understand, yeah.
I talk about family because we all go through it with babies, grandchildren, teenagers, adult kids, and we celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, family get-togethers, barbecues, holidays.
Right, yeah.
And I just love it all.
Yeah, it shows.
Then I see that there's also there's another competition coming up. Is it this weekend with My? Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's going to be at the Champions, and there's not enough competitions to showcase the amazingly funny comedians that are out here in the Pacific Northwest, from Olympia, Tacoma to Seattle. And the comedy competition gives everyone an opportunity to come out.
And where is Champions, so that the listeners can check that out if they're not familiar with it?
Champions is in Lakewood, off of South Tacoma Way, 8765 South Tacoma Way, Lakewood, Washington 98499. So you're going to have to make a left turn up into the parking lot, and it's back in a diagonal cul-de-sac, and it's actually inside of a restaurant, Chinese food restaurant, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, your contest that you put on, it shows how you're dealing with all of these different groups of people, because, like you said, you see everybody there, everybody interacting. It's always a good vibe on that. The one in Bremerton, that was my first contest, like I said. So, and I guess I wasn't prepared for the contest atmosphere and the judges being there. So, I was like peeking at the judges and looking over. I was thinking more about the judges, but you gave me good advice after. I'm gonna definitely get better, and I'll be in future competitions. I'm gonna rip it. Just be ready. Joey's gonna be in them too. No, I just like to watch.
Joey, you're not gonna come and join?
I don't know.
You got it.
I always feel like I'm ill. How often do you get up and do stand up? Whether that be an open mic or a show.
I try to do an open mic once to twice a week, and sometimes if I can't get there, it goes down with me on the telephone. So there's becoming more open mics than paid shows. Paid shows mean you have to work at getting folks in the seats. I've had shows where I do pay my comedians because it is a showcase, and I believe in the comics that come out because I can tell if you've been working. The crowd response also tells that, and it can only be anywhere from 2 to 25 to 100 people in the room. They know when you've been working. But to command it as a new comedian coming out, they still have a lot to learn. And so you're just not going to get paid if your material's good. And Joey, I want to speak to you. You're telling me you don't get out enough. What you did 2 months ago at the Caballeros was fun. It was amazing.
Thank you.
You put work into it. You know, you even begin to sing. And so if you're feeling self-conscious or you're doubting yourself, just take the next leap because you're there.
Thank you. Well, and I prepared most of that set was written specifically for that night, and I was working on those jokes, for a while, and I was like, I just was trying to figure out the right venue, and the jokes about going to Jason Lee happened to work very well there at the Caballeros Club because it's it's not too far from there, so I appreciate it, and I did work pretty hard on that set just because I wanted to show up and show out. So I appreciate the kind words.
Actually, you just showed where you're from. You don't have to do a set and say it's just for the Caballeros. You tell your story, you tell your life story. When I hear other comics talk about things that they've done, let's go back to Eddie Murphy. His funniest joke, that just got everybody, when he did the ice cream, that's nationwide. When you chase the truck, and your mom said, I ain't got no ice cream, I got some in the freezer because she done bought some. We ain't got ice cream money every day for that bill to come around. Exactly, so you can relate to that. And when you were talking about Jason Lee, I thought about my cousins, and one of my own daughters went to Jason Lee. I didn't want her to go there. And she just had the best time of her life. So I can relate to it because I'm from Tacoma like you are.
Right.
And so if you go to Seattle and you tell that joke, or you do that whole set again, it's going to go over because it was from the heart and it was real.
Right. Well, and I was practicing a little bit more, I went back to it and listened to it, and I think that I can take that those jokes and use them again, and that maybe doesn't have to be so specific about hey, Caballeros and Hilltop or whatever. I could just say I went to a school that was kind of gang related at the time and blah blah blah, and it wouldn't matter about where I was or whatever, but it was fun to practice that there for sure, and I still will work out those jokes other places because I did think it was pretty good. It was pretty fun, that's for sure. Oh, geez, my dogs are barking.
Oh.
So yeah, I appreciate the kind words, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go over, and the fact that it went over well, and I felt good about it. That's the kind of stuff that makes you want to come back and do it more because you're like, oh yeah, that worked out. That got the people laughing, and even got some lady to say, "Singer boy," that was great.
That's what gets
acknowledging
me.
that.
When the comics show another side of their talent, the singing, I was like, wow. You took me back to the Color Me Bad days. New Jack City days.
The crowd acknowledged that, man. That was nice. That was cool. Well, Catrina, there's anything else you wanted to make sure you shout out, promote anything that you wanted to say?
Absolutely. Come to the Caballeros. Support our monthly showcase, which is the first Friday of every month. We're going to work on a showcase the second or third Sunday over at Champions to bring a showcase over there. All right. Good
thank
stuff.
you, Catrina. Appreciate it.